fine.
Okay, cool.
You want to come up here and be my bestie?
Just chill.
Yay.
We'll start Audacity when you start.
Hey, boo-boo.
I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes because
Meow. Meow, meow, meow.
can we
I look
just?
like a ghost.
You look adorable.
Ghosty.
You look adorable.
I'm so white.
Now you look white. The moment you went into frame, you looked super white. I love you. Yeah, and then I just want to let you know that with everything said and done, you are amazing. And I never want you to ever think that you're not amazing, because you are.
Well, thanks. I don't know if you were talking to me.
I'm talking.
I just assumed you were. Love you.
I'm gonna cancel.
Don't punch me in the face.
I'm not violent. I love you.
Okay.
I love you with
Natalie
all.
says hi.
Hi, Natalie. How you doing, love? I'm still sending stuff. I am so fucking behind. I had to make sure that everything was the way it needed to be.
Malice sent like 50 hugs. Or 50 hearts.
50 hertz?
Yeah.
Those are bits. You sending me biddies? Biddies for the titties. Sorry, that's not what we're here for. I'm almost done sharing. Malice, share my link.
I'm just gonna take my hair down. I think it's better.
Whatever you need to do, love. I think I shared everywhere.
Let me look at myself. Do I look okay?
You look adorable. You look adorable.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And I need you to stop, like, not thinking you're adorable, because you're adorable all the time. All the time. I don't know. Alrighty. Are we here? We're here. We're doing a thing. We are living our best and fullest life. We're going to count this down real quick. I have a lot going on. She said, wait, hold up. Excuse me.
Huh?
Alright, guys. So, you ready? You want to count me down? Give me a five countdown.
That's what it's gonna do.
5 countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever time you are listening to this. This is Reiku and my Sunday detox, and I have Kat with me. You guys are going to probably see and hear her more than y'all like to in the next coming months, because she got voluntold at this point. We are going to be talking about some lovely things. As you guys are aware, we've been doing this for a year. Yes, I'm so excited. A whole year. This started off as a random, hey, guys are really thinking you should do a podcast because you talk some real ish when it comes down to certain topics, including motivation and manifesting and nerd stuff and different perspective that most women don't think about, like not celebrating Valentine's Day, because fuck Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day is the worst.
It's the worst.
I hate that day.
But in tradition of us being here a year, if you guys remember, around December we were talking about seasonal depression. And as a person who suffers bipolar depression, PTSD, and anxiety, I'm deciding that we're going to talk about toxic behaviors and recognizing toxic behaviors, because a lot of people be like, oh, I'm not toxic. But they do some very toxic shit and they don't realize that it's toxic. Remember, guys, in order for you to actually manifest and be better and do better, you kind of got to recognize the signs of people who are manipulating you when you're doing manipulation. We did talk about earlier in the season, well, I talked about it, different attachment styles, including toxic caretakers and toxic attachment styles and things of that nature. As a person who has a weird, dismissive attachment style, well, 1 minute I really want to be under you, the next minute I'm just like, please get the fuck out my face because I feel like I'm going to harm you. It's technically a form of a toxic behavior, and I know it's a toxic behavior. Unfortunately, I'm kind of conditioned where I'm afraid of being hurt or hurting someone, so I typically will push someone away even if they may be good for me. So we're going to talk about recognizing toxic behaviors that most people do not realize is toxic behaviors, including talking about the toxic behaviors people do recognize. So, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host today, hi Kat.
Hi.
So, me and you, we've talked about this a lot.
Especially lately.
Especially lately. Lord, I think we both at some point of time has dealt with we have both talked about toxic behavior when it comes down to friends, when it comes down to family, when it comes down to like a lot of stuff. So typically, let's talk about recognizing toxic behavior. As a person who suffers anxiety like me, what is the most toxic thing you've experienced that you don't think most people realize is a toxic behavior? And then we'll go ahead and discuss it a little bit more.
Well, I have bad anxiety as well. And so the one thing, I mean, this is like a recent experience, but I guess like something that is toxic that someone might not realize is toxic is like telling someone something and then getting mad that that person started doing what you told them to do.
So, for example, let's go ahead and go with that. When you are a person who suffers anxiety and you tell them, leave me alone. And as a person with anxiety, we will give you what you want.
Yes.
You tell us, oh, I don't want to be bothered, leave me alone. We're already in our minds thinking we're the reason you're upset.
I'll never talk to you again.
And it's not that we won't talk to you again. We'll give you what you want.
Yeah.
But then if you get mad at us for giving you what you want, that is technically toxic.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and like go to another friend and be like, I told her to leave me alone that day. That didn't mean leave me alone forever. No, you have to kind of explain and like treat somebody. I'm not trying to say you have to do it with everybody, but anybody who has anxiety, you kind of need to treat us with glove hands.
Yes.
And kid gloves, or as to say would be like the best way to put it. When you tell us, hey, leave me alone, you need to say, hey, let me sort through some stuff. I'll come to you when I'm ready. Don't just tell me, leave me alone. Because the moment you tell us to leave you alone, we are going to give you a... We're going to just...
Bye.
Bye. Because we're already in our mind feeling like we're a bother, we're a nuisance.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, for me, I'm
Everyone
one of the...
hates me, you know, that whole thing.
Whoo, child. I don't know if this person's watching. Like, low-key, I think, like, 3 times as I've been, like, messaging this person since Monday, I think, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I think I'm bothering this person. I should probably end these conversations. I think, like, I tried to exit the conversation because I felt like I was bothering them. But I don't think they realized that's what I was doing. Because I'm like, I'm entertaining you a lot more than I entertain my regular friends. And you're nobody that really knows me. And I feel like I'm being a pest. Maybe let me stop harassing you and let you get back to your life because I might be boring. And they're just like, no, you're good. I'm like, are you sure? Like, a part of me with the anxiety wants to be like, are you sure? Oh no! Thank you for the biddies. Thank you. For those who are listening on Sunday or listening whenever you're listening, biddies are somebody, you know, tipping me for the show and so on and so forth. They're basically giving some money. So
nice.
I'm one of those people, like, if you sit here and I'm weird. I'm really awkward. Like, a lot of people think, like, because I have a podcast and because I do Twitch and I occasionally go live and I've done I've done stuff when it comes to, like, you know, open mics and stuff. I am actually the most awkward extroverted introvert in the fucking world. I can be social and then, like, you say the wrong thing and, like, in the subconscious of my mind, I'm panicking and I'm like, these people think I'm weird. These people think I'm awkward. And I'm sitting here dressed full to the T in gothic clothing or super extra elaborate bitch like I was on my birthday. Because my best friend decided to be like, look, we're going to be fancy bitches and go to the chandelier. And she's like, I'm bringing a fancy dress. I was like, shit, now I got to pack a fancy dress. So that is how it is.
Yeah, that was a great night.
Oh, well, thank you, Madeline. Thank you, my love. I appreciate you. So, here's something a lot of people do not realize is common traits of toxic behavior. Minimizing someone else's pain or their disability. So, for me, as a person who has anxiety, and Kat comes up to me, and she's like, I know I'm over-exaggerating. Or this, that, and the other. She's minimizing her own pain. I will never tell her you're over-exaggerating, you're over-extenuating yourself, and stuff like that. Like, when it comes to her, I sit here and say, no, you're fine. Because in her mind, it's valid. And what she really wants, well, any person with anxiety really wants is just acknowledgement that the way that they're feeling is valid, or they need to understand that somebody doesn't think they're crazy. Because anxiety already in itself makes you feel crazy. So, like, when she's having, like, her little panic moment, she's like, oh my God. I'm like, just breathe. It's okay. Give it a couple days. She's like, but am I being a bitch? I'm like, no, you are expecting someone to respond on your time. It's going to happen. When they're ready to respond, they'll respond. And believe me, I do the same thing. Like, I have to literally talk myself down because I'm such a I will handle this myself type person. It's so bad. But I'm always here for her. So I won't call her and be like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being a spaz. I'm sitting here telling myself in my subconscious, I'm like, I'm doing the most. Calm down. Calm down. But the worst thing is, I feel like if you're a real true friend with somebody who, if you understand what they're going through, their anxiety, their depression, you have to be compassionate. So if you go up to a person and say what they're feeling is not valid, or it's an understatement, or like minimize their pain or their anxiety, you're undermining them and you're not really trying to help them. You got to find a better way to acknowledge their anxiety if they're trying to get better. Like, if they're trying to get better in their anxiety. Kat daily tells me, I'm trying to get better. I know.
Yeah.
You basically kind of like everything happens for a reason or things of that nature. Because sometimes if you're kind of like, you can say everything happens for a reason, but it's about the deliverance. So if Kat sat here and said, this person just ghosted me, and I'm just like, everything happens for a reason.
You're like, well, fuck you.
Exactly. No, you're supposed
Like,
to be like, oh, no, baby. No. Everything happens for a reason. Maybe they're not good for you.
Yeah.
You have to elaborate.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, everything happens for a reason and then shrug it off.
Whoops.
Exactly. You gotta acknowledge what you're saying. You gotta know, like, experience that is being had and understand that they're feeling this way for a reason. Anxiety usually prepares you for the worst. It's your mind thinking of every single scenario. Like, I used to tell people the best way to look at anxiety is a person who overthinks. A person who overthinks is the most prepared person in the world. Because we overthink so many different scenarios. Hi, Crimson. As a person who literally, as a person who suffers anxiety, I would literally think of every single scenario and outcome of, like, what is it? Not the butterfly effect. I don't want to use that movie as a reference.
Like
But
a domino effect, maybe?
Maybe. It's like, I think of a scenario, and I will sit here and overthink the scenario so much, and think about, if I say this may possibly happen, or this may possibly happen, or they might respond like this, or they might do this, or if I can't get this, then I need to make sure I have a backup plan for my backup plan for my backup plan, and I'll have like 8 different backup plans, and then I'll have so much anxiety of what outcome will possibly happen. Like, that's how my mind works. So I think so much about situations that I typically put myself in a depressed mood or put myself in an anxiety mood because I don't know which outcome might be possible. It may be one scenario, but I'll think of all the possibilities of it. And then, like, I prepare myself for the worst but expect the best. And I had to kind of start training myself of that, where it's not something, like, major, but it's enough to understand. So when you tell a person with anxiety that the way they're feeling is not valid, everybody takes anxiety differently. Mm-hmm. Everybody handles anxiety or have anxiety about different things. So you telling a person that they're over worrying or they need to calm down, and you're just kind of like, you wildin', like, I hate it.
Or it's like, oh, like, I'm just this way, it's not you. And it's just like,
if you sit here and dismiss a person who has a mental problem, anxiety, depression, it makes them feel like you don't care. Mm-hmm. And that's it. What most people with mental health problems want you to acknowledge. You may not realize, you may think you're being supportive by being an ear, but being an ear also means you got to understand, you got to empathize. You don't need to downplay their pain, their anxiety, their depression. You need to find a better way to express, better way to, acknowledge it. Like, I think that's the reason why you're friends with me now, because when you first came to me about your anxiety, I was just like, me too.
Yeah.
Let's talk. And we've been friends since. She was like, oh my God, I need to see you. My anxiety's so bad. I'm like, when you're ready, boo, I'm here. I have an open door policy when it comes to mental health. Everybody knows that. But if you randomly show up to my house because you want to hang out and I'm not aware of it, I might punch you in the face. It has to be a valid reason why you're showing up at my door at 10 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Constantly criticizing. You're always having anxiety. You're always impatient. You're always depressed. Well, I'm sorry that I exist, fucker. Right. I hate that. Like, don't criticize a person. Like, somebody I considered my best friend and somebody I was talking to used to criticize me about every time he would have to blow up my phone was because he was talking me off the ledge. I was like, that should not be an excuse for you to talk to me. That should not, like, I've been surviving, and I call it that because that's the best way to put it. I tell people I live for my siblings. Like, that point blank. If my siblings one day told me they don't need me, then that's when you really need to talk me off the ledge. But I have my depressed moments where I'm just like, I don't feel like I should be here. There's a difference between a person who has suicidal thoughts and suicidal intentions. Is that the one I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah, so suicidal thoughts mean I just think that I would be better off not here. Doesn't mean I'm going to commit to it. Doesn't mean I'm going to try it. Doesn't mean I haven't. But that's when I was younger and I didn't know any better. But I am not going to do it. I just have my moments where I'm like, if I hit the back of this truck today, it is what it is. Like, I don't fear death. Like, if it's my time, it's my time. There's a difference, but I will not take my own life. Like, it's just not how I'm going to do it. And I sound real, I know this is a, warning when I say this. I'm going to definitely put it as a warning later. Yeah. But we just basically, you can't sit here and, think that's a reason why. And if you criticize a person who has depression and suicidal thoughts, and you don't realize that even if you think that it's tough love, it's really not.
No.
It's really not. Don't be sitting here saying that the only reason, because now you're making that person feel like the only reason you're in their life is because now you feel like I need to be there or she might die. Yeah. Or he might die. And honestly, at the end of the day, that is toxic because it makes that person feel like, I gotta be there or else. Yeah. And a person who is trying to do better, they don't want to feel like a pity case or what is it? What is a better word?
A burden.
A burden. That I don't want to feel like a burden. So do not criticize a person. Do not criticize a person who has an abusive background. Talking about you're always using that as an excuse. Because sometimes some people. Huh? It is. Lizzo. Why am I being called Lizzo?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It is okay. It is getting real bad, and I don't like that it's getting bad. Why is it like this? Oof. Yeah, no, it's lagging pretty bad. Here we go again. There's nothing plugged up. Yeah, no, nothing's on right now.
I think our internet just sucks.
Yeah.
Probably.
We're gonna be doing this again. Why are we like this? Alright, pause for the calls. Just pause for a minute. Like, stop the stream.